15 watches that look more expensive than they actually are. This is something that I talk about here on my channel very often. It's sort of a feature of a watch when it looks more expensive than it actually is. You've spent less money, but it looks like you've spent more, and you have a watch on your wrist that looks really good. It says something about the design. If it looks more expensive than its price tag, they've done a really good job. I have 15 watches to talk about, so let's get into my number one pick. These are in no particular order, and I'm going to run through them as fast as possible because I do have a lot of watches to talk about. The first watch on this list is a Nevada Grenchen. This is the Chrono King. The Chrono King is made in a few different variants. I'm talking about the Mecha Quartz version. These range between $500 and $1,000. All of the watches on this list will cost under $1,000. It gets a Seiko VK63 Mecha Quartz movement, very reliable, sapphire crystal, really good looking, vintage inspired racing chronograph. You cannot go wrong with these watches. They're really well made and they are strap monsters. If you love the watches that I talk about here on my channel, you're really going to love the website that I'm about to tell you about. It's called Wrist Rebels. Wrist Rebels is a website that has all of those small micro brands and independent brands that are really hard to find all in one place. Brands like Sika Design, Mon, Formex, Awake, and Bow Blue, and many other brands you won't find anywhere else. Definitely check out Wrist Rebels at wristrebels.com. Also check out their Instagram at Wrist Rebels. And if you end up buying something, tell them that Watch Chris sent you. Not that long ago, the brand Erebus came out with the Accent in a bunch of different sizes, making it available to anybody's wrist. They came out with a 34mm, 36, 39, and a 41. So if you have a large or a small wrist, you'll be able to find an Erebus Accent that fits you well. All of them come in under $500. My favorite is the Purple Helix, a very cool dial for the money. These come on a bracelet with micro adjust. You get a choice between two bracelets. They are powered by a Miyota 9015, and you get 100 meters of water resistance. These are made really well and they feel amazing in hand, especially for the price tag of under $500. The next watch I want to mention is really not a watch, it's basically a brand. Although the brand does make more expensive watches, they make a lot of affordable watches. Zelos make dive, field, and dress watches that are always really well made and very affordable. The Mako, the Helica, Swordfish, Nova, all of these watches could be had between $400 and $1,000. All of them get sapphire crystals, interesting dials and materials. The cases are usually made out of stainless steel or titanium with extra hard coatings. Lots of interesting dials with interesting materials and textures. Automatic movements ranging from the Seiko NH to the Miyota 9000 series all the way up to ETA movements. And all of their watches get on-the-fly micro adjust. It doesn't really matter your budget. Zelos make a watch that is going to be within your budget, and they make a lot of amazing watches for the price, and they always look more expensive than they actually are. Whenever I make lists like this, I try and pick watches that are a little bit off the beaten path. However, the next watch on this list is somewhat of a popular watch. It is the Seiko Alpinist. The Seiko Alpinist is popular for a very good reason. It's a great looking explorer style field watch. Depending on where you buy it or how you buy it, you can get these between $550 up to $1,000. You're getting a 6R movement, a sapphire crystal, inner rotating bezel, and 200 meters of water resistance. A very popular watch for a very good reason. It's great looking, very functional, and of course looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. I know I might catch some flack for the next two watches that I'm going to talk about, but Swatch Blancpain collaboration, the Ocean of Storms and the Green Abyss. Put these on a traditional leather strap and they look amazing. Now, will these last a lifetime? Absolutely not, but if you're a watch collector and you want to add one of these to your rotation, these look fantastic for the $420 that they cost. I highly recommend them. I own the Ocean of Storms. I think it is fantastic looking for the price, and it definitely looks like a Blancpain on wrist, and it is because it has the Blancpain name on the dial. Yes, it's disposable, but if you take care of these watches and you don't bang them around, they will last a pretty long time. One of my favorite watches on this list, and a watch that I own in my collection, is the Notice Contrail GMT. I think that this watch looks like a Grand Seiko, however, in a much better size. It gets a sapphire crystal bezel. Of course, it gets a sapphire crystal, a Miyota 9000 series, the 9075, which is a true GMT. Lots of really good looks, and you're getting on-the-fly micro adjust, 200 meters of water resistance, a loomed sapphire bezel, lots of specs, and really good looks for the money. These come in at around $900. The next watch I recently got hands-on with, and I was very impressed. It's the out-of-order Forma Venti, specifically the one with a distressed case. These come in at $770. They are a jump hour with a running seconds, which I really like. It's powered by an ST1721 movement. That's a seagull movement, but they modify it so it's a little bit more reliable, and it gets their signature distressed case and a beautiful Italian leather strap. And the leather strap sort of matches the case a little bit. I love the 1920s style. It's a jump hour. You're getting a sapphire crystal. Everything about this watch looks more expensive than it actually is, and it only comes in at $770. The next watch I want to talk about is the Citizen Zenshin. This is a watch that I have mentioned here on my channel many times. They're currently on sale on the Citizen website. They look a lot more expensive than they actually are, and I have said this for a very long time. They get sapphire crystals, textured dials, super titanium cases, which is essentially a titanium case and bracelet that is coated with an extra hard coating, 100 meters of water resistance, and eco drive movements. Now you can get an automatic. Those are still under $1,000. They make them in chronograph form, plenty of different dial colors. If you get one of the pandas, they look like they cost thousands of dollars, but they don't. All of them are under $1,000. That eco drive chronograph costs $500. The time only with day date is $400. The automatic comes in at around $500 as well. These are amazing values, and they look fantastic. Another watch that I own, the Timex 1983 E-Line. This is a TV screen style watch. They come in between $200 and $300 depending on if you want a bracelet or a strap. The bracelet is one of those stretchy bracelets that you would have gotten in 1983. It gets an automatic movement. It's a Miyota 8 series Miyota movement, so it's very reliable and obviously serviceable or replaceable. These are really good looking watches. Although they don't feel like the most expensive watch in the world, they look a lot more expensive than they actually are, and that's why it's on this list. Another watch that I recently got hands-on with and I was extremely impressed with is the Tissot Visodate. This is the updated version that just recently came out in 39 millimeters, powered by the Powermatic 80. It's a great looking everyday dress watch in 39 millimeters. It comes on a beads of rice bracelet. The only thing I would say this is missing is some sort of on-the-fly micro adjust, but for $950, this is a very good looking watch. I featured the blue dial and it has a lot of vintage charm. Next is probably my favorite watch on this list, and a watch that I really want to own. It comes in at the same price as the previous watch, $950. That's on a strap. I do want to get this on a bracelet. It's $1,050 on the bracelet, but I think that it's great on the strap, and I actually own the GMT version of this watch on a strap, and I think it's fantastic. This is the Atelier Timex that they recently came out with, but the dive watch with a ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, Swiss movement, and a beautiful bracelet. The strap is amazing on this as well. It comes with a beautiful deployant clasp. These are higher end watches that they are selling for under $1,000. This will go up against any luxury Swiss-made dive watch. The case is extremely interesting. The dial is a beautiful black lacquer, and you get a fantastic loomed bezel, all for under $1,000. I highly recommend these watches, and I will own this watch in my collection. The Venezianico Arsenal looks a lot more expensive than it actually is. It sort of looks like a baby Parmigiani Tanda, and that is definitely not a bad thing. They wanted to make a dressy integrated bracelet watch, and they did it, and they did it well. These get sapphire crystals, automatic movements, usually Miyota 9000 series, so the 9015 or the 9039. You're getting lots of interesting dials. They've put so many different interesting dials, all for under $1,000, starting at around $800 and going up to that $1,000 mark. These come on a bracelet or a strap. I highly recommend getting these on a bracelet because they do taper so well and the bracelets are really, really nice. The next watch is somewhat of a curveball. This is a Todd Schneider collaboration with Unimatic. The specific watch is the U4 GMT, and this comes in just under $1,000 at $988. It's powered by a Seiko NH movement, so it's the NH34. You're getting a sapphire crystal, a really robust 40mm case, 300 meters of water resistance, and it's limited to 250 pieces. It gets a really cool tan dial, which is the reason why I really like this version. And overall, I love the Todd Schneider aesthetic. He makes some really great clothing and really great collaborations with not only Unimatic, but also Timex. And that brings me to the next watch I want to talk about. It is the Timex collaboration that Todd Schneider did on the Lexington. This was essentially a reissue of an original design from Timex called the Lexington. They were $169 right now. I believe they are sold out, but I believe they will be restocking these at some point, or at least that's what I've been told. It gets a quartz movement. They're a long tank and they look fantastic. I went out and bought one of these because they were so cool. They came out with 3 different dial colors and they sold out pretty quickly. For $169, there aren't many watches out there that look this good for that price. Last but not least, it's the Bulova Super Seville. They are now available in 35mm and 37mm, 37.5mm was the original size. They get that fluted bezel. They're integrated bracelet watches with the Precisionist movement, a highly accurate quartz movement that gets a beautiful sweep seconds. Sapphire crystals, and now they are available with stone dials. So those 35mm versions get stone dials and all of them cost under $1,000. In fact, most of these watches cost between $500 and $900 on their website right now. These are very good looking integrated bracelet watches in 2 different sizes, so you'll definitely be able to get one that fits your wrist properly. I really love the new stone dial versions in 35mm. I am very excited to feature one of those here on my channel. I think they look so much more expensive than they actually are. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below about the watches that I spoke about today. All of the watches, as I mentioned, look more expensive than they actually are. And what I was saying earlier about that being a feature of the watch is something that I've always believed in. If a watch looks more expensive than it actually is, it speaks to the design, the designer who made the watch, who actually put a lot of thought into it. And I think that's very important. If it looks more expensive than it actually is, they've done a great job. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me some watches down in the comment section that you think I should add to this list, and I will definitely do a part 2 and a part 3 of this list in the future. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to like the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next